Their Eyes Are Watching God is a book that I have read recently. The book is very interesting, I believe. It has a very strong premise and strong opening, but fucks it up right after chapter 4. I don't really get it. Uh, when it comes to character writing, Janie Crawford, almost called her Janie Starks, but that's not, I mean, she's known as Janie, fuck it. Jenny Crawford is a very frustrating character to read about. She's not really a character, more like it's like watching an action figure do stupid shit. I don't really know how to put it. She feels very bland, even though we've told about descriptions about her, and that's probably because we don't really know anything about Janie. I mean, we're told what she looks like, but little times do we really know how she feels or what she thinks. And I think that's one of the issues with the story is that our main character feels so detached from the audience. I think the story would be much better if it was told in first person point of view as opposed to the third party. The reason for that is because the audience feels more attached to Janie emotionally and spiritually. The character, if it's told in first person, if Janie got to tell her side of the story, I really do feel like it would help bring more sympathy to some of her actions I found quite foolish in the story. Like another issue I have with that is the core theme of the story being independence and self-love, but I feel as if those messages weren't conveyed properly or executed properly, if you know what I mean. In the story synopsis, when you open the page, open the book, you get a story synopsis and it talks about Janie learning how to be independent, but I didn't really see that from the story. Janie, for a book that's supposed to stand on being independent and self-love, Janie spends 90% of the story with someone being codependent. I find that quite crazy. It's not until 3.5 pages left of the story is when Janie is actually alone by herself showing independency. In the story, we see very little moments of Janie showing independency and it being a positive thing. It's always shown as a moment of consequence, as if she's learning from something. She showed independency to her second husband, I believe, Joe Starks, and got slapped for it. What message is that conveying to the audience? Is that conveying that standing up for oneself and believing in your ideals will get you fucking beat on and a negative outlook? Or is that supposed to convey a sense of positivity? I don't understand the message that was displayed right there. I don't really get it. The pacing of the story is also very, 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 very all over the place. It runs too fast. I've seen the movie adaptation in class as well, and I think in 30 minutes, 12 years had passed, and the script for the movie is an adaptation of the book. Is a very close adaptation of the book. In the book, it's somehow even worse. In the book, we will let's say this right. Jenny mourned the death of her husband within the next couple chapters. I'd say a chapter and a half. She was already on to her next love interest. We really don't get to know how. This goes back to one of my earlier issues that we don't really understand how Jenny feels or what she's thinking. And that may be just me. The target audience for this book, I would assume, is a young black woman, growing up finding themselves. But I feel like for audiences who aren't the target audience, to wrap them in, I really do believe that first person point of view would have really helped this book be a lot stronger. And I believe the length of the book should be a lot longer. The main story is only 193 pages. I feel like this book would have been properly executed if it was told in a book series, maybe 3 books, maybe just 2. Just 2 lengthy books. Slow down on the pacing. Let me know what Janie's thinking. Tell me more about other characters. Other characters we don't know really much about. I feel like the only characters we really get to really know is Janie's grandmother, Joe Starks, and a tad bit about Tea Cake. I would like to know a little bit more about Tea Cake, but that's just me personally. But those are the characters I feel like we get a good analysis of and is able to get a good read of. Surprisingly, Janie is not even on that list, which I think is bad because I feel like any main character should be memorable. But I feel as if the most memorable characters aren't even Janie, which I don't understand that. I feel like your stories are supposed to have a memorable antagonist, at least one to relate to the audience, or the audience is supposed to root for. But other than that, I can't really think of anything else to say about the book. The pacing, once again, that shit needs to slow the fuck down. That shit's way too fast. It's kind of ridiculous, my nigga. Yeah, this shit has very forgettable characters, man. I just really thought about that. I can't name any other characters. It was Janie, Joe Starks, Tea Cake, her grandmother, Phoebe, which for some reason it's really told from Phoebe's perspective. She's telling the story. Like I don't fucking understand that. She's barely in it. Like I don't. What substance does she have? Like man, this shit. I don't know, bro. But yeah, my nigga. Their eyes are watching God. I think this shit overrated as fuck. They actually sat there and said it's one of the most important books in 20th century American literature. That is some bullshit. I'll tell you that right now. There are plenty of better coming of age stories, or stories that indulge in the hardships of women and shit like that, you know? Much better stories that convey those messages. I feel like this story was really just all over the place. It would be much better if it was a slower paced story that had the ideals of Janie in it. So yeah, I appreciate y'all today. I had a little script ready, but every time I read it, I didn't fuck with it. It felt like a hella, well, it literally was scripted, but like on some bias shit. So I decided to just do this shit off the dome and shit. This is a nice little class project though. I hope this nigga don't play this shit in the classroom. I feel like I sound dumb as fuck, but alright, y'all.